Welcome back, everybody. This is Set Point Sessions, the official podcast of Set Point Mental Edge. This is Set Point Sessions sponsored by Set Point Mental Edge. We are back. We are on episode number 13. Lucky number 13
Ooh,
today.
lucky
That's
13.
That is pretty crazy. Now, I know we've taken a little bit of time off. We've kind of gone AWOL. Life is life sometimes, and it just kind of gets a little busy, but we are back with another fantastic episode. What do you think about it, Andrew?
That's right. I'm excited to be back. Long time no see on a computer screen. I saw you just earlier this afternoon, but
Yeah.
been a while. Been a minute since we've been on a set point session here.
Speaking of seeing each other recently, we have started up another season of tennis. This is boys tennis season. We have officially started practice. I'll let you talk a little bit about it, but I am pumped for this season.
Yeah, man. We're just a couple of days at the time of recording. We're just a couple of days into our spring season of Falcon tennis, and we've only had one day outside at this point, with some not very favorable weather rolling in, kind of. But that's the nature of spring sports, and that's kind of you just got to kind of roll with things. And so it is what it is. We talk a little bit of X's and O's, a little bit of chalk talk on the whiteboard. Not really,
Ooh, I like
not
that.
chalk talk because it's not on a chalkboard, but
Whiteboard talk.
Whiteboard talk doesn't really rhyme though. So, but we talk some X's and O's, and we talk a little bit of mental stuff. You and I both believe in this, obviously, and so we try to send that down to our kids, and had a good conversation today of what mental habits exist in a mentally high performing athlete, and what mental habits are present in just an average mental performing athlete. And so it's something that we talk about. A lot of coaches go inside and condition. We do that too. We were running a little bit, doing a little bit of physical workout, but we also get a little bit of the mental workout in when we have rain out days. And I think those mental reps are just as important as the physical reps, and that's why we do this whole thing. And so kind of a practice what you preach type of deal. We gotta bring that into the tennis practices too. So that's where we've been at. Super excited. We got a lot of returners coming in from last year. Got a couple of guys that I think have been putting in a little bit of work over the off season, maybe looking to make a jump on the ladder. And then I think we're deep again this year. We've just got a solid core group of guys that are just pretty solid tennis players. And as far as lineup is concerned, got some decisions to make there.
Who knows?
Yeah, we were talking to that group today, and we don't know at this point what it's going to look like. So challenge matches are going to be important for them coming up in the next week or two, and then as we get into our matches and tournaments and things like that, I gotta figure out who's gonna be with who and in what spots. And regardless, I think we've got a pretty strong group of 9 or 10 guys that are gonna be a pretty solid foundation for us this year. So I'm excited. It'll be fun. It'll be good.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Speaking of success throughout a season and being busy over the last couple of weeks, you have had the opportunity to work through Set Point Mental Edge as a bit of a mental performance coach. Talk to me about that, and working with a high school team through their postseason. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just kind of start from the beginning. I have a client that I work with who I actually have two, but one in particular that wrestles at the Silver Lake High School, and through connections and whatever, her coach reached out to me and wanted me to come give a spiel to the teams about mental performance, about, mental toughness, whatever it may be, which was honestly terrifying because other than coaching, I have never really stood up in front of a group of kids that I don't know and, been passionate about something and tried to get that information to them. I know how high school kids are. I've spent time in high school working with high school kids, and I was terrified for like, it's the best way I can put it. So I went down there. I spent 2 days with them. Day one was just a workshop, as I like to call it. So I talked to him about some mental skills. And then day two, Coach Brady, which shout out Coach Brady. I don't know if he listens to this, but he's incredible. Great guy. He gave the kids an opportunity to come down and have little mini one-on-one sessions with me. And then I'm thinking like, no way anybody's going to take advantage of this. This is like, it's small town Kansas. Nobody takes this stuff seriously, whatever. I was expecting to just sit down in an office all day. I had like 8 or 9 kids come in and just talk, have, concerns or questions that they brought to me, which was awesome. So, um, obviously, I'm going to support my client through everything. So, I went to a couple matches and a couple meets. I went to regionals. Um, and I really just kind of bonded with the team. The team was great. Coach Brady was really accepting. Coach Colt was really accepting. Like, it just kind of made me feel really welcome. So, um, by fault of mine, I took the weekend off from work last weekend because I thought state was going to be in Salina because Silver Lake was 4A last year. Well, it turns out they moved down to 321A.
Yeah.
321A state is in freaking Hayes, Kansas, which is about 4 hours away from here. And I had already, made the commitment. I had already told people I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go to state. I'm gonna watch. It's gonna be awesome. And come to find out, it's in Hayes, and I can't really go back on my promise. So I was like, all right, drove 4 hours down there. I left on Friday morning, the first day of state. I left here at 3:30 in the morning to get down there to watch state in time. Pulled in like 15 minutes before, the wrestling started. I got to see the ceremonies and everything, which was cool. But um, that's the long spiel. The kids were super successful. The kids did so good. I couldn't be more proud of them. I made this really long Instagram post, but they really locked in. They really paid attention to, some of the things that I was talking about. Um, and they were really successful. And that looks different for everybody. We had um, Silver Lake's women's wrestling program set a whole bunch of records for like, the amount of state placers they had, all these different things, which was cool. But like the kids fought and the kids battled. And I think that's what I was trying to get across to them is like, you're going to be in tough situations, but you got to fight through them. You got to be tough mentally, physically. And when you do suffer a loss, you have to not let it ruin your day. You've got to be able to bounce back. And I think that's incredibly important at state, especially wrestling, where those matches kind of go quick and they happen and they can be done in the snap of a finger. But one last thing, it was a really cool moment. One of the kids that came down and had like a little one-on-one session with me at the practice, um, I had talked to him maybe then for like 15 minutes or so. They call it the blood round. And if you don't know what the blood round is, it's where it's a part in the bracket at state where you lose and you're done. If you win, you medal. You're guaranteed sixth place at least, which is a medal. Um, and these kids want that so bad. They just want to place at state, right? Which I understand. And I'm not going to say his name, but I'm hanging out down where the wrestlers are and taps me on the shoulder. And I turn around and he's kind of scared me because I didn't think anybody was going to be talking to me. I was like, "Hey man, what's up?" He goes, "I'm really nervous. Can you help me like calm my nerves? Can you give me some stuff to like lock in and kind of just forget my nerves?" And immediately, boom, I was like, "Let's walk, buddy." And we took a little lap around the indoor track they had and we talked. The kid ended up getting like, I think it was fifth at state. And that was
Yeah.
the blood round that he talked to me in. And like, he went out there and pinned the kid or, beat him. And like, it's just really cool to see these kids put in the work and the effort and have it pay off. Like, that's so cool
Yeah.
to see they deserved it more than anybody. I loved it. Like I said, shout out Coach Brady, everybody in that organization. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah. No, and that's got to be super cool and super rewarding for you too. Like to see, you know, you have these conversations with the kids, and then to see them do the thing. Oh my gosh, sorry. I just watched Bill Self just got ejected.
Oh, oh, uh-oh. You guys are watching this live. Not really live, but you're watching this as it's happening. Andrew Davids, not very happy about the Bill Self ejection.
He just got tossed.
Andrew, give me your thoughts. Come on, let me hear him. What
Oh,
did he
they
do? I
should.
need a
Oh, it
play-by-play.
wasn't. Oh my God. Darren Peterson was trying to run through a guy and probably shouldn't have, and Bill Self disagreed with the official's call, and the dude who tossed him came from across the court. Like he wasn't. Bill Self wasn't even talking to the guy who ended up tossing him. Whatever. Get out of here. Okay.
You heard it here first.
Reset.
Breaking news.
Oh, okay. What was I saying? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. But no, that's got to be really cool for you though. Like to be able to have these conversations and to talk to the kids and you know, give them your advice and your thoughts, and then to see them put that into play when
Yeah.
they're competing, and to be able to watch them push through those tough matches and tough moments, and see that success in real time firsthand. And I'm not saying it's because of what you told them, but surely what you tell them has something to do with it, right? Like you're not coaching their wrestling skills, but surely the mindset and what they're
Right.
thinking in their head, surely that's got to be a little bit of you on the mat, and that's got to be cool. That's pretty got to be pretty self-rewarding for you.
Yeah, I'll have a moment of vulnerability here. I don't know if you want to call it imposter syndrome. I don't know what you want to call it, but like there's a lot of times, especially early on in this like journey that I'm on, where I feel like what I do doesn't make that much of a difference, right? And I don't know I know it does, but I know that there's only so much I can do in a given situation where I give the information and I, give the tools and the tricks, but it's on the kids to take it in and put it and implement it. And so I put a lot of weight on myself sometimes of like you're not relaying the information well enough. If it's a failure, then that's on you, right? Which I'm trying to get over and everything, and that's a whole nother conversation. But um I somebody compared one of the things we worked on was growing confidence, right? And being confident with where you're at on the mat, who you're going up against whenever you're going up against them. And one of the wrestlers came up to me at regionals and she said, I really appreciate you telling me all that stuff. You really helped me find my confidence. And I said, listen, listen, listen. Your confidence was never missing. It was never gone. It never disappeared. And I compared it to like there's a door. Your confidence or whatever's behind that door is always behind that door. That door is just shut. You can't get to it because that door is shut. Sometimes you just need somebody to give you a key to open the door. That doesn't mean that your confidence isn't there
Yeah.
or that, you know, um, whatever isn't behind that door because it is. You just need a little push, a little something to realize it. And I think um, to a lot of those kids, I was that push or that key to unlock their door. Um, and so I will never take credit for it. I was talking to one of the moms and she said, like, you can absolutely take some credit for it. And I said, I'll take 1% credit because there's so much that goes into it. It's like a puzzle piece, right? Or a whole puzzle in the sense of it's not
Yeah.
complete until all the puzzle pieces are put in. So even if it's 1%, that 1% could make a huge difference. And so
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I do pride myself on that, and I'm like really happy, and it makes me feel good. But a lot of it was just the kids took it upon themselves to take it to heart and actually do the things we talked about. Which
Yeah.
that's all I can ask for from
Yeah.
anybody that I talk to about these things. So um,
Yeah. You know, I think
yeah. Speaking of, go ahead. Yeah.
I think that that's kind of that moment of vulnerability you're talking about. I think is relatable for pretty much every coach, right? And even in my profession of teaching, like there's we always try to give our kids the tools that they need, right? Whether that's me in a classroom or on the tennis court or whatever. But like ultimately it's
Yeah.
on the kids to be able to take in what we're trying to teach them and then to perform when it matters, right? When somebody nails a test that they've been struggling with that unit, or maybe like they bombed the first test but then worked hard on the next unit or whatever, like that makes me as a teacher proud of that kid. And I
Yeah.
think it's the same thing. Like when we see that success on the court, it makes us proud of that kid and proud of the work that they did. And yeah, it's not all us. It's on the kid, but it's nice to know that like they're listening to what we're saying. They're doing the right thing, and
Yeah.
what we're saying and what we're trying to teach them is kind of making a difference. And so I
Yeah.
I think that's a very relatable point for anybody in a situation of being an instructor of some sort where you don't really have control over what that outcome is. But when the outcome is favorable, man, it's really rewarding.
Yeah.
You're about to say, I
I
think you're
saw
about to say,
so
speaking of confidence.
speaking of speaking of confidence, that's what we're going to talk about today. That's a great segue. Let's go. We're talking about building
Little bit late,
confidence.
but that's a good segue.
That's all right. We got it's all good. Um well yeah, we're talking about building confidence in this 13th episode of set point sessions. So, um I'm let's just get into it. I saw a lot of confidence this last weekend. I'm seeing a lot of confidence on the tennis court and all these things that we're working on these kids with. Um I'm curious what you think what confidence is to you. What is like if I ask you what your definition of that word is, what would you tell me?
Uh, belief, like a very strong, powerful sense of belief.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that there's different kinds of belief, right? There's like faith that something's gonna work out, or faith that something is the way it is just because that's what it's
I
gonna
would
be.
I would call that trust, right? Like I would
Okay,
like
sure.
faith and trust, yes. Confidence and belief, synonymous words.
I feel like that confidence is like the idea that I know that I can make something happen, that I can do a task or a job successfully because I have the skills and tools. I believe that I have what it takes to get this job done. That
Yeah.
if I had to give a definition, I think that's what it would be.
Yeah. I like that.
Do you feel like there's a difference between confidence and I don't know, overconfidence, arrogance, cockiness? What tell me? Let's walk that fine line.
Yeah, for sure. I think well, growing up before, I had this passion for sports psychology, mental performance, whatever you want to call it. I always saw confidence as arrogance. They were the same thing for me. If I saw a kid who growing up in, competitive tennis world who was confident in himself, I immediately saw that as cockiness or arrogance or whatever you want to call it, which is completely false. You
Mhm.
just because you're confident doesn't mean you're arrogant. I think the thing that separates the two is how you present yourself outwardly with that confidence. Um, if you go around thinking you're better than everybody else, walking, talking, playing like you're better than everyone else, especially like the verbal part of things, the talking, the smack talk, the whatever, um,
Yeah.
the boastfulness of it. To me, that's arrogance. I am a huge fan, and I push this with all of my clients and my athletes of quiet confidence, where you don't
Mhm.
have to, the only person that needs to know that you're confident is yourself. And that's not saying that there's anything bad about not being quiet about it, about if you're really good at what you do and you're confident in that, if talking about it and bragging about it is what you do, then that's fine. But um, to me, that tiptoes the line of arrogance and cockiness, whereas
Yeah.
confidence is more within yourself. Like I'm the only one that knows and believes in these things and trusts in my abilities, and I know that. and I'm confident in my abilities. That's a me thing. Arrogance,
Yeah.
cockiness is I'm bringing everybody else into it. I don't know if that makes
What
sense
I
or not.
what I think of when No, it does. And what I think of when you are saying that, I think of like the phrase of actions speak louder than words,
Yeah,
right? Like
for
if I'm
sure.
confidence is one thing, but if I'm really good at what I do, I don't need to go talking about it. I don't need to go spreading the word about it
Yep.
because everybody that watches me play is going to see that I'm really good at what I do. I don't need to
Yeah.
tell everybody that I'm good at what I do because they're going to see it if they watch me. And
I talk
so,
about go,
but yeah, it's just
finish it.
like, and so like, it's the, it's that belief that I know what I'm doing. The arrogance is the projection. I think the
Yes.
cockiness of, man, I'm gonna talk and I'm gonna tell you how good I am, as opposed to, I'll just show you how good I am. Like I think that's kind of the difference between confidence and arrogance.
And I want to be clear that I'm not shaming the projection of it all. Like if that's who you are as an athlete, if that's what you want to do, like I'm not saying that makes you less of a person or less of an athlete. Um, it's just kind of my personal MO is quiet confidence, is not the
Yeah,
projection, is, the, keeping it within myself kind of thing, if that makes
yeah.
sense. Um, one
I
of the
don't
things
remember.
I've talked to, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, go. No, you were talking about your clients. I think your Civil 8 kids.
Yeah, well, yeah, all of them really. Any sport that I work with is like, it's kind of related to confidence and being, quiet and that keeping it within yourself of, you don't have to recognize or broadcast the progression steps that you make, especially mentally, right? A lot of
Hmm.
times we will post pictures or whatever about, like, oh, I reached a certain weight in bench press or squat or whatever. And it's like, celebrate your accomplishments, sure, but like, you know, sometimes you just got to keep things within yourself and know what you're capable of and let it build your confidence without tearing other people down or showing it off to other people. If that makes sense. Like that kind of ties into the next thing we have on here is that confidence is built. It's not found. You don't just like reach into a box and pull out confidence and now all of a sudden you're a confident person. It is built over an extended period of time through many different trials and errors.
Yeah, I think like that's why the phrase is building confidence. Like it's not something that is an overnight thing. It's not something that just happens. It's and I think we'll talk about this a little bit later on. But like it's the repeated doing of something over and over and over to feel like you don't have to think about it. Like you are a natural at it, and things come easily, and um, that's where the confidence comes from. Like it's to
Yeah.
get to that point, you have to work for it. You have to work at it. You have to put in a lot of hours and a lot of time. Um, you have to. You said trial and error. I think like you have to think about the things and experience the things that don't work to know that they don't work, and then to be reinforced with the things that do work. Like you just have to feel all of that and go through all of um, those ups and downs to really be able to ride the ups.
I like that. I like that a lot. What does if you're looking at an athlete, whatever level it is, what does real confidence look like in that athlete?
Um, if I'm thinking body language, like chest high, chin up, like no matter maybe what the scoreboard says or what the situation is in a game, like the idea of I've got this, and that positive posture and body language, I think is um from a body language standpoint, I think that's something I look for. From a tactical perspective, um I think like sticking to a game plan.
Yeah.
We talk. with our athletes and players of, a general game plan that we want for our singles players and for our doubles teams and things like that. And then if you lose a point or two while trying to implement this game plan, and then you go away from that game plan entirely, that's not confidence. That's that's fear almost.
Hesitation, fear, yeah.
Yeah. But if we lose a point or two, oh my gosh, Jacques Vaughn just got teed up. What are we doing? Anyways, if we lose a point or two, but we stick with our game plan, and we are not going to shy away from what we know works or what we have planned forever to work, then that's confidence. Then I know I'm just, I'm not going to win every point. In tennis, we talk about that. Like, you can't expect to win every point, and if you are expecting that, you're going to be sadly mistaken, and it's not going to be good.
You talk about that, and it reminds me of like something I talked about with a parent today. Of failure is a part of sports, right?
Yeah.
Any sport, literally any sport at all. There's no way that you can play any sport at a high level and not fail or make mistakes. And so, if you've got that game plan and you're confident in that game plan, or you're even just confident in yourself, there's no amount of mistakes that can change that confidence level. There's nothing. You could go on the basketball court, you could go 0 for 16 from 3 points, or not make any free throws, whatever it may be, and your confidence level should not change. That belief that you can accomplish that thing should never go away, regardless of that failure.
Yeah. I mean, as I'm watching a KU basketball game here and thinking of what you're saying, it reminds me, I don't remember which game it was, but Darren Peterson was having a rough game and he wasn't shooting the ball well. And he comes into I can't remember what game it was, but we were down and it was towards the end of the game. And he hit on back-to-back possessions with under 2 minutes to go. He hit big 3-pointers, and he had shot really poorly the previous 38 minutes of the game, and like, that's confidence, right? Yep. You hear when you watch basketball games or listen to basketball coaches, like, shooters shoot, and they like, that's your confidence. If you know you're a shooter, then you're gonna shoot the ball, and no matter how the night has gone or the game has gone up to that point, if you've got true confidence, you want the ball in your hands when the time matters, because you know you can make a difference and you know you can hit the shot when it matters most. And like, say what you want about Darren Peterson, but the dude can ball, and a lot of people think that quiet confidence that he has, or I call it quiet confidence, that some people think that he looks like he doesn't care about basketball or that he doesn't enjoy being out there. I think it's the emotional stability of not letting himself get too high or too low. Like, I think he's been trained to be so level-headed that he doesn't show his emotions. And to an outsider, it looks like he doesn't care. It looks like he doesn't want to be out there or he doesn't enjoy it. But I think that it's just everything is internal, and he's right here external, and you can't tell where he's at emotionally. But that's a good thing as a competitor.
His roller coaster is very boring, is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. That is a direct talking point that I talked about to the Silver Lake wrestling team.
Yeah.
Word for word, you keep your roller coaster boring. We can talk about that at a different time, because that doesn't have much to do with confidence. It's more emotions. But I'm curious, like, where does this confidence come from? Like, we said that it's built and it's not found. Like, where are you getting this confidence? Where is it being found, or where is it being built? How is it being built? Talk about it.
Yeah, I think the starting point of confidence, I think, is effective practice time. And whether that's, led by a coach or just on your own. If you're practicing what you should be practicing, that practice helps to build confidence. I try to put my athletes into situations, whether it's drills or games or things that we do at practice. I try to put them in situations that they will find themselves in a match, in a real match that matters. And so that when they find themselves in that situation, they have the confidence of having been there before with no pressure, with less pressure, like at practice.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's where it starts, is with effective practicing, and then doing it over and over again, right? You can't just practice something once and then expect to be good to go with it. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way
Especially in
with
pressure situations.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
when and trying to imitate or mimic when something really matters, when the pressure is high. Like that's not something that just happens after one rep, right? You got to keep going. It's got to be a daily or a weekly thing at practice, something that you expose yourself to over and over and over again, so that when the time comes and it matters in a real match, you've been there and you have all of this past experience to fall back on. And so it's not your first time doing it. Your first time doing anything, sports or not, you're nervous and not confident. You don't know what you're doing. You're just unsure about things. But the more you do it, the more confidence you build. Think about driving a car for the first time, right? You're super nervous. That's why you start in a parking lot, so that you don't crash into other cars. And then you go onto the street for the first time, and then you're really nervous because you've never done it before. But now I don't even think twice about it because I've done it so much that I've built that confidence. And it's just over and over repetition and effective practice time, I think, is really the strong foundation for building confidence. Do you have a step 2? Like, what comes next after practice time and repetition? What else is there to building confidence?
I think something like past experiences. Um, this may not be so much in terms of like confidence in certain abilities. It's more or less confidence that you can do something, that you can get through a certain situation, that you can, whatever. Um, I think of when I went skydiving and I was so nervous to do that, right? And I was the most terrifying thing in the world that I've ever done at the time. But as soon as it was over, as soon as I actually did it, I know that I can do it again. I might still be a little nervous, but I have confidence that, it's going to go well. I'm not going to die, that things are going to go well because I've done it before. I have that past
Yeah.
experience of doing it. And you think about these people that have skydived, jumped out of the sky,
Skydiving?
skydived, skydived. These people that have
Divin.
been skydiving for thousands and thousands of jumps, and they have no doubt about it. They're so confident when they jump because they've done it so much. And so it's that those past experiences, those past proofs of, hey, I was nervous, I was scared, but I did it, and I know I can do it again. I'm confident that I
Mm-hmm.
can do it again. I think of like um relating it back to state wrestling. Like there's people that were seniors who were wrestling in the state finals for the fourth time. They'd made it to the state finals all 4 years of their career. And you got to think about their confidence going into that last final match of like, I've done this
Yeah.
3 times before. I know I can do it again. That confidence level has to be so freaking high.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You talk about past experiences. I think that like we have written down here like evidence, like proof that something works builds confidence for the future to do that thing again. Let's go back to like tactical decisions on a tennis court, like a strategy or doing something, a specific shot pattern or something like that. Like if you've practiced it, that gives you a foundation of confidence. And then if you implement that in the match and you see it work, there's proof that it works. That
Yeah.
right there builds confidence. Like, oh, yeah, coach knows what he's talking about. There's a reason that we did that drill at practice, or that we, you know, coach put us in that situation at practice. There's a reason for that. And oh, look at that. Now I've done this thing. I executed this play or this shot like coach told me to. Oh, and now it works. I'm going to do that again. Let's do it again and again. And it starts to work over and over again. And then you start to build the confidence that, oh, this is what's supposed to happen. This is how it's supposed to be. And I think that the that proof, I think, really builds the confidence of being able to do something, um, and know why you're doing it and know that it's going to work just because you've seen it work in the past.
Let's flip this around a little bit and talk about proof that something doesn't work and building confidence that way, right?
Okay.
So I'm thinking of being in a situation and something not working, and that building your confidence in a positive way. And I've said this quote before, I think, and I'm going to say it again. It's Steph Curry. Somebody once asked him, like, Howard, how do you have the confidence to keep shooting, even you might not have the best shooting night. You're always shooting the ball. You always have the confidence to take the last shot. Why is that? Something along the lines. I'm probably going to screw this up, but every shot that he makes, he believes is proof, is reassurance that he's going to make his next one. I made one, I'm definitely going to make two. I made two, I'm definitely going to make three. And that pushes him to keep shooting. Now, when he misses, in his mind, he believes that that is just proof that he's going to make his next one. That's just pushing him to make the next one. I don't miss two shots in a row. I
Right.
know I don't miss two shots in a row. So I'm definitely making this next one. I know I don't miss three shots in a row. I've missed
Yeah.
two in a row. I'm not missing a third one. I'm shooting this shot and it's going in, right? That confidence that's never undying, so to speak. Even after there's a failure. It's perspective, it's how you look at it. Um, as soon as you start thinking negatively after a failure, your confidence level goes down. I've seen this, I've
Yeah.
lived it. I think we can all agree to that like as soon as the thoughts go down, the confidence goes down. Everything kind of goes down. And so I think handling those failures in the right way, in the right manner, in the right mindset is another important way to, build that confidence up.
Yeah. One of the ways I think that you can handle failure correctly is with your self-talk, and how you talk to yourself after the mistakes or in between points or whatever. We
Yeah.
talk about the importance of positive self-talk and talking to, and that internal monologue being the right kind of internal monologue. I think it's important to recognize when things go well and reinforce that to yourself, and then have the correct perspective and the correct way of talking to yourself when things don't go right. Well, okay, I never missed two shots in a row. I'm gonna keep shooting. Like when I was competing, I never missed four serves in a row. Like double faulting 2 points in a row, that's a huge big no in my book. And like I never never whatever. I'm sure I did, but like I told
Yeah.
myself that
You
I never
you
missed four
definitely
serves in a row.
can confirm. You definitely have missed
You're
four
probably
serves in a row.
you were probably there for a decent amount of them.
Yeah,
But
probably.
like that that's the it's confidence, it's self-talk, it's being able to put yourself in that spot where you're moving forward with the belief that you can do the thing that you need to do.
Love that. That Steph Curry quote. I read it. It was one of the first books that I read as I was getting into sports psychology, and it just has stuck with me ever since. Of like
Yeah.
how trained, how um, dedicated, disciplined you have to be to have that mindset for when people are watching, when people aren't watching. Like that's just so crazy to me that's the thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to highlight this quote that I heard, and it's from I'm probably going to butcher his name. It's Johnny DeJulius. And this
Ooh.
guy wrestled at Ohio State. I've never met this guy personally. He has affiliations with Silver Lake Wrestling. That's how I know about him. Um, I heard him say this quote that confidence is the reward that you get for trying. And that stuck with me like nobody's business. Like, you don't have the confidence and then try. That confidence doesn't come before you try. That
Yeah.
confidence is the result of you trying something new or trying something again and knowing that you can
Yep.
do it and having that confidence to go after it again. I I, I thought that would be a good quote to throw in here, especially as we're talking about it. So, um, it is what it is. Let's talk about the flip side of things. Building
Sure.
confidence. What destroys confidence? There's a lot of things out there, a lot of things that people might not even realize that they do. What is the
Yep.
number one thing on your mind and on your list that destroys a person's confidence?
I'm going to talk about two at once, I think. Um, and I think they kind of go hand in hand with each other a little bit.
Okay.
One of them, I think, is setting unrealistic goals and having unrealistic expectations.
Good.
And then you trying to reach those and failing to reach those because they were unrealistic for what your personal abilities are. That doesn't do a whole lot for confidence, right? You got to have realistic, and we talked about this in our goals episode, where you realistic but challenging goals. And then when you reach them, it really builds your confidence. And I think that kind of what goes along with that is like seeing other people and comparing yourself to them. Like, you should always, every day on the court, on the mat, on the field, in the weight room, should be a competition against yourself where you were last time or yesterday or last week or whatever. When you start to look at other people and what they are doing and saying that, oh, I should be doing that. Why can't I do that? Like, that's so counterproductive to what you're trying to do. You should be looking at yourself and where were you yesterday and what have you done today to get better. And by tracking that, that should build your confidence. When you're looking at somebody else, you don't know what they've done outside of that gym. You don't know what work they have put in that you don't see.
Mhm.
So making that comparison is unfair to yourself. And it just destroys and takes away confidence when really what we want to be looking to build that confidence by comparing our past self to our current self and trying to better our future self. Look at that. Past, present,
That's
future, baby.
that's really good. That was a great little connection. That was awesome.
Man.
I This reminds me of it's actually the client that I work with who wrestles at Silver Lake. She had this goal, and I remember she lost in the semis. It was an incredible match. It was so good. One of the best wrestling matches I've ever watched in my life. Both girls wanted it so bad and they were fighting for it and everything. And ultimately, the person that I worked with came up short, right? And obviously she's a little upset, she's a little devastated, um, as anybody would be in that situation. And I remember having a
Mm-hmm.
talk with her later that night of like, what's the new goal? What what are we doing now? Right? And I remember her saying that she's so disappointed because her goal was top two at state. Right? I just wanted that so bad. No, that's great, and that's not an unrealistic goal by any means. That's not an unrealistic goal, but it's like we talked about it in our goals episode where goals change, right?
Yeah.
And just because you don't achieve one doesn't mean that it was a bad goal or unrealistic or anything. But what destroys the confidence is not changing that goal, I think. Of I didn't
Mm,
achieve this, I'm not going to achieve this. I'm a failure, whatever that self-talk is, right? And
yeah.
letting that destroy the confidence instead of saying, you know, I have a chance to go top 5. I'm setting my new goal to be top 5 and I'm going to and I'm confident in that. I know I'm going to do it and building confidence that way, right? Like we have a
Yeah.
decision a lot of times where that confidence can be destroyed or it can be built and it's completely determined dependent on how we think and how we view things as
Yeah.
athletes, as humans, as workers, whatever it may be. Um, so I like that you mentioned the expectations and the goals and everything like that. Um, that's good. And the comparison too. Like, shoot, the only person you should be comparing yourself to is the person you were yesterday. 100%.
Yep.
Even if you are 1% better
Bingo.
than you were yesterday, like you and I talk about it all the time. Be 1% better. That's like in any
Yep.
facet of the game, mental, physical, conditioning, whatever it may be. Get 1% better and compare yourself to what you were the day before, the last time you stepped on the court. And if you can say that you were better that day, that's all that matters. It goes back
Yep.
to the controlling things that you can control, right? I can't control the work other people put in. I can't control anything related to other people. The only thing I can focus on and control is myself and my
Yep.
confidence and my expectations and my goals and stuff like that. Um, I mentioned something about the negative self talk, and I think that is another thing that destroys confidence that people don't even think about. And I'm
Yep.
specifically athletes like tennis players or
Yeah.
the sports that you have a little bit more time to talk to yourself. Like in a wrestling sport, it's so bang bang quick type of match. The action is going fast. You don't really have time to like tear yourself down. But I'm thinking basketball, maybe football, tennis,
Golf.
um, golf. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, like where you have that time to
Thinking
talk to
time.
yourself, and you choose whether you're doing it intentionally or not to say something bad. Now, there's a lot of times, and you and I are guilty of this, where we would say something like, "Oh, you're so bad at tennis," and we didn't like actually mean it. It was more of like a joke. But like, I'm still thinking about what that did
Yeah.
subliminally to our
Right.
confidence level. Like maybe it relaxed us, maybe it made us feel funny or whatever. But like, dude, like we should be building ourselves up just like we would want
Yeah.
somebody else to build us up. And it comes from that self-talk.
Exactly. No, I think I've talked on here about how poor my self-talk was sometimes on tennis courts. Like, and it's that, like you said, the sports that you have that opportunity to think um, in between reps or in between plays. As I'm sitting here thinking about the other sports, like I feel like bowling. You go and bowl a frame, and then you sit for a minute or two. Like I don't know how. Like I don't know.
Yep.
You sit, and what are you telling yourself in between in that time where you're not performing? Like the mental side and that talk that you have, and I don't know what kind of communication bowlers are allowed with their coaches and things like that, but like when you're talking to yourself in your own head, what you say and how you say it is super important.
I look at it like this. You're either building your confidence or you're tearing it down. There's no in between. Your confidence level is never like stationary.
That
You're
yeah.
by the things that you say, you're either building it or you're tearing it down.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. So which one is it going to be? Wait, like you as the athlete are making that decision, and you have to commit to that decision to build it or know that you're tearing it down yourself. I mean, to me, it's just
Yeah.
that simple. That's just what it is. I think another like inconsistent preparation, in terms of like
Mhm.
how you're getting ready for big tournaments, big matches, big meets, whatever it may be. Um, that goes back to routines. That goes back to so many different things. But um, the the routine aspect of it and the preparation, if it's positive, if it's something that is repeatable, if it's something that's uplifting, then that builds confidence. That's just a fact. If you just go
Yeah.
out there and do whatever and just I feel like doing this today and maybe I feel like doing this tomorrow and and they're not the same. Like you're just not helping yourself and you're not helping your confidence, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think that that's part of the coach, part and like that's part of their job, but also like
Yeah.
when we talked about it a little bit, like the coach can only do so much, and the rest of it is up to the athlete. Like how do you approach every day mentally? What are you doing in between reps at practice? How are you talking to yourself? What's your focus point? Are you today? Are you joking around and messing around with your friends in line? And yesterday you were locked in and looking, watching the other reps and seeing what you could learn from your teammates. Like every day needs to be with a purpose and the
Yep.
same. And if you're up and down or in and out of your focus level, then your preparation isn't good and your confidence isn't where it could be.
We have the question on here of what are athletes doing that quietly chips away at confidence? And honestly, like my answer to that question is all of these things. It's all of them. I think every
Yeah.
athlete is guilty of all of these things that we just listed in terms of what destroys confidence. I don't think there's one that people do more than the other. I think that's just my answer. Do you have a different answer? Do you agree or
No, I mean I agree, and I think for every athlete it's a little bit different. Um, some athletes it's more than just one thing. Um, I think the important thing is to be aware of it.
yeah.
And I think that was kind of our conversation today when we were talking about things with our team in the classroom. Like that self-awareness part, I think, is a really big piece. Um, knowing where your weaknesses are, um, knowing your faults, and then doing what you can to try and fix those, to try and right those wrongs. Like nobody's going to be perfect. There's nobody in the world that has zero faults or zero negative traits or personality characteristics or whatever. Nobody's a perfect person,
Yeah.
but being aware of those downfalls is important. And then how do you handle those downfalls? Are you trying to improve those? Are you trying to get yourself better? And so knowing these things and kind of bringing them to the front of your mind as an athlete, I think is really important to and then recognize that, oh shoot, that's bad self-talk. I need to stop doing that. Or, oh man, today was not a very good day at practice. I need to make sure that tomorrow is better. And so like, I think that's just that self-awareness part.
I think that's huge. I think that's super important. Um, it's been a while since we've been on a podcast back with each other. But I
Yeah.
love to give practical things that people can do to
Yes, you do.
get better at something. I love giving the tools and the tricks and the tips and whatever you want to call it. So let's talk about it. I want your help with this. How I want to give the people what they want. I want to
Let's
give
give it
them
to them.
ways. They're asking for it. We're gonna deliver.
Let's give
How do these people, these 5 people listening to this podcast, how do we give them? How do they build that confidence? What can they do? What can they actually do to build their confidence level, no matter what they're doing? Some people might be business people. We might have some, teachers that listen. We might have some athletes that are listening. No matter who you are, what you do, how do you build that confidence?
let's go back a couple episodes to our goals episode when we talked about the dopamine hit that you get when you achieve a goal and you check something off your list. And we talked in that moment about how that makes you feel good and it builds your confidence. Set your goals, make those small step goals, and then cross them off a list. Keep a check. Like, make a note that I did this and I can do this. And because I did this one, I know I can do the next one. And when you stack up those small wins, those small goal achievements, that's going to build your confidence. Like that, I think, is one of the best ways to see your confidence grow is to keep a list of things. Don't erase it. Don't erase it off your board because then you don't see that you've done it. Keep it there.
Yeah.
Put a check mark by it, or cross a line through it. Like I've done this. No longer I don't need to do this again because I did this. But don't erase it because then it's not there. But once you see all of the things that you've achieved and the things that you know you can do, that's a confidence builder right there. I think that's a huge thing to be able to build your confidence.
Agree. I think that's great. What my input here is back to another episode that we've talked about with the controllables, the things that you have control over. It feels
Yeah.
good to have control over a situation. And so many times as an athlete, as a human being, we get caught up in the uncontrollables, the things that are happening that you have no control over, which causes a lot of times a mental spiral, not positive thinking, whatever it may be. And so if you track those controllables, write them down, make a notes app, whatever it is of things that you can control in stressful situations, in tough situations, whatever it may be, um, and actually exert control over those things. Put yourself
Yeah.
in control of those things. That to me is one thing that builds that confidence. For me, it's helped out a lot of, okay, what in this given situation can I control? Okay, it's these three things. I'm going to control those to a T. I'm going to make sure that those are
Yeah.
exactly what I want them to be. So the next time this situation presents itself, my confidence is there that I know how to control these situations. I know what to do and I know how to do it. Um, that to me is like my number one way that you can build up your confidence. You got any
What,
more? You got other ones?
yeah, I mean, what you're talking about right there sounds to me like a routine of things to do every time you go compete. What am I doing? Is it, what are my steps in the locker room? How am I putting my uniform on? Um, how do I lace my shoes up, or what do I do the night before?
Yep.
What, like, building that routine and knowing that I've got everything that I can control under control.
And
And
honestly,
and go ahead.
the more that you have control over, the more like that you can add to a routine or add to, whatever that you have control over, the better it is. Like I talk to athletes all the time of like, well, okay, what's your routine? This, and this. Okay, let's add something else in there that we have control over, so that way we feel like we have more control over, of over things. Whether that's,
Yeah.
tying your left shoe and then your right one, or tying your vice versa, whatever, something that you have control over, add it in, even if it's small. Put meaning behind something and do it intentionally. Give yourself the confidence to have control in those situations.
Yeah. When the more you feel like you have control over those things in that situation, I think that it's easier to let the uncontrollables just happen,
Yes.
and
Yes.
you don't have to focus on those uncontrollables because you know that you can focus on the things that you can control. And you've got your routine and those grounding reset mechanisms. um and I think that that's a good way to let those uncontrollables go, is by just worrying about what those controllables are and what you can do.
For sure. Absolutely. You got any more ways to build confidence intentionally?
Um, just recognize when the things go well. Like when you execute a plan, or when something works the way it should, like, go back to it. Go back to it a couple more times. And when you can establish that pattern and you know you've got that success, then that's when we start to build the confidence. Like, that's, I think, a big thing. Like, recognize, be aware of what's going on and what's going on well, and then continue to do that, and that builds your confidence. Muscle memory, like that's what I'm thinking of in my head, but like, just in a bigger, broader sense,
Yeah,
build that confidence by repeating the good things.
for sure. I like that. Um, are you want to get into the classic, now traditional cat lightning round, or do you have something to say before we move on?
I think I think it's time for that we should queue up our cat lightning round.
We should cue up the cat lightning round. You say the words and I'll cue it up, buddy.
And without further ado, the Set Point Sessions Cat Lightning Round.
Classic. All right, you guys know the rules here. If you have listened, you know the how this goes down. We've got some rapid fire, quick questions that we're gonna ask each other, and it's gonna be a quick one-word response, 1 to 2, maybe 3 words if we're feeling a little frisky. Type response of just
One thought.
first thing that
One
comes to our
thought
head. One
response.
thought. One thought. Sometimes these turn into a big thought, but it's still a thought. So it is what it is. So um Andrew, I'm gonna start with you first and see
Okay.
what you have to say about these. Okay. Are you ready?
Yep.
And we're off. What is one thing that builds confidence the fastest?
I talked about it earlier. I think it's effective practicing, like using your practice time right.
Okay. What is one thing that athletes think builds confidence, but it truly doesn't?
Um, that's a good question. That they think builds confidence, but doesn't. Um, one good rep. One good rep.
Good. That's a good answer. Who is the most confident athlete you've seen and why?
Kobe.
Ooh,
I'm going basketball here.
classic.
Kobe. And I
Why?
think the why I think is pretty obvious for anybody that watched Kobe compete. Like he, the Mamba mentality is named after him. Like that's Kobe. I think his style of competition and the way he handled himself just resonated confidence.
What is one phrase that helps you compete confidently?
For me, it was be aggressive. I always had an aggressive play style, both singles and doubles, and I was comfortable and confident in the way that I did that. And so, like that reminder of be aggressive. That was where my confidence came from.
If you had to pick one in a tough situation, would you take confidence or would you take momentum?
Ooh, um, depends on the situation. If I am in a comeback, then I'm riding momentum. If I'm in a tight match, I'm going off of my confidence.
Okay.
That's my
And
answer.
last question, if you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
Flying.
Why?
Because I think that would be cool.
Okay. Great answer. Wow, that was about that was just I think it'd be cool. Okay, wow. Guess I didn't think about that one. Okay. All right. Whatever.
Okay. All right. Are you ready for your round of lightning questions?
Yes, I'm going to try not to repeat the same things you said, but I am ready.
Okay. Okay. Question number one. One thing that builds confidence the fastest.
I think positive self-talk.
Okay. One thing that athletes think builds confidence but doesn't.
I'm going to say negative self-talk, that they think they're encouraging themselves, but really they're
Okay.
tearing themselves down emotionally,
Big,
mentally, whatever you want to call it.
good. Big on the self talk. I see that. Who is the most
Yes.
confident
Yes.
athlete that you have seen and why?
I'm taking my boy SGA. I have to. I
Jeez.
just I just I just think it's his his ability to go out there and play his style of game and know that if it's a close game that he's going to be the one to take that clutch shot and, be confident that he's going to make that. Either him or Steph Curry, but I can't choose a Golden State Warrior when I have an Oklahoma City Thunder player on the table. So,
One phrase that helps you compete confidently.
it's another self-talk thing. You've got this. Like you can do this. Something that motivates me and pushes me to like get through a situation and like encourage myself to do it. That's my answer.
Yep. Yep. In a tight moment, are you riding confidence or are you riding momentum?
I'm We've talked about confidence this whole entire time, but I'm taking momentum. I'm
Hey.
riding that train all the way till it's not there anymore. I mean,
Yep.
I see it so much in sports of like a team is down and they start to get a little bit of momentum behind them and it changes the course of everything. Like KU right now, right? They're on a
Yeah.
huge run. I've got it right here and they're
Are you
like
watching?
and I'm not watching. Oh, I was
I'm
hang on.
watching.
Hang on. I'm not watching, but I'm watching. I'm game
Yeah.
casting it. Yes. Okay. That was one thought. That
Okay.
was one collective thought.
Yes, of course it was. Um, and then similar question to yours, but not the same. Uh, if you had a supervillain superpower, what would your supervillain superpower be?
Well, I mean, what if I just said flying? Super villains fly. That's not my answer, but I'm just like I'm,
No, no, that's no.
I
I'm a
think it would
superhero and I
be
fly.
okay. Well, then what's the opposite of flying? Walking. Then I'm walking. Um, I think my super villain power would be mind control. Like
Ooh,
like I have a way of getting into your brain and you doing what I make you do. So that way I can turn good people, good superheroes into bad people who do my bad deeds for me. That's what I would do.
I got you.
Does that make sense?
And last question. Yeah, of course, it makes sense. Complete and
Okay.
total. Last question. It kind of goes off of this confidence or momentum thing. Are the Hawks going to win this game?
You know, it's close. They're in Arizona State, right?
They were
Um,
they were down 20 at half. Now they're down by 8.
oh, okay. Yes, I think the Hawks get it done tonight. Um, I know my friends are in the group chat blowing it up right now about, it's sometimes it's about how terrible the team is, sometimes it's about how great the team is. You never
Yeah,
know. But I'm excited to see the messages come in once they get it done. Hopefully they have the confidence
there
to
you
get
go.
through this tough game
And they
and
can ride
pull
that
out the win.
momentum.
And they can do confidence and momentum both at the same time.
There it is.
Yes, Hawks get it done. We'll see if they actually get it done or not. Um, yeah, yeah. I think that's all we got. We have it's a weekday. It's a school night for you. We've
Yep.
got practice again tomorrow. I think it's time we sign
Yep.
off and get some rest. I would be remiss if I didn't give my classic spiel about set point mental edge and everything that it has to offer. Um, Things are picking up. I'm getting clients. I'm getting inquiries. Like I'm putting everything out there and getting some good response. So if you're listening to this and you think if you're a coach and you think your team could benefit from it, I'm now offering like workshops with teams and stuff like that. If you're an athlete who could use help, even if it's just a little bit of help, let me know. And if you're an athlete who doesn't necessarily feel comfortable reaching out to people, talk to your coach. Your coach will prioritize your mental performance more than you probably think they will. So just start that conversation with them. Have that conversation of, "Hey, coach, what can I do? What's something that I can benefit from?" Um,
Yep.
if they don't point you in the right direction, let me know. I can point you in the right direction.
That's right.
That's my spiel. You got anything to say before we sign off?
No, I'm excited to get into our tennis season. And I'm hoping that we can be making episodes fairly regularly through the season. I know that it kind of puts a stress on our free time and our mental space. And I know you still got your clients and stuff that you're going to be working with. So I hope that we can still continue to make episodes on a fairly regular basis. But until next time, hit this man up. Give him a follow on social media.
That's me.
He's making big things happen, and I think that he can make big things happen for you too. So
I would also thank you. That's so kind of you. I would also be probably murdered if I didn't shout out my mother for this lovely, beautiful um, poster board thing and the plethora of um, magnets. So if you are in need of a magnet, you just let me know because I got a bunch of them. They work great. They have nothing metal near me, but they stick on metal like nobody's business. And yes, thank you for this, Mom. I love it. This is great. Um, if you want one, hit up Katie Davids. I don't know why anybody else would want one of these, but if you do, Katie Davids has the plug. So,
I'll take one that says Falcon Tennis or Olathe South Tennis or something. I can give you a couple mock-up designs if you want. Just
mock-up designs. Next year for Christmas. Next year for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yes. Instead of, contributing money to like things that I might like, nope, this is it. And I love this. This is great. This is beautiful. And I realized the headphones kind of look like my headphones, right? So
they do. I thought you did it on purpose.
What if I went here and I flip this around? Do I look like the guy?
Kinda. You got a beard and a hat on.
That's true. And I'm not taking the hat off.
And you can't see your brain like you can see this guy's brain, but
that's true. That is supposed to be like knowledge and confidence that is growing within the person's brain.
Right.
Now you know the story behind the logo. Anyway, that's it for tonight. Thank you guys for listening. We will be back. If not next week, definitely the week after. We're going to have hopefully some guests on coming up soon. Pick some brains about this type of work and this type of topic. But until then, I'm Austin and this is Andrew. And we appreciate you guys listening, and we'll catch you on the next session of Set Point Sessions.
That's right.